that life is all service. I served and I saw that service is hot. Hot was not the word that was supposed to be there. I think it was joy. Anyway, that was Kay Hill. Forget it. Anyway, I think we have a few people to be introduced, and at that table there might be some new folks here.
President Mary, fellow Rotarians and guests, we have visiting Rotarian Andy Moe and soon-to-be Rotarian Court Boyce,
all right,
and returning Rotarian David Johnston.
Welcome. And I think that's it, other than our speaker. And I'm really excited. I didn't get a chance to vote for Tamie because I live outside the city limits, but I know that she's going to do the city of Gold Beach a great job. So welcome, Tamie Kaufman.
Thank you, Mary. I've known Mary a very long time. I was trying to think of the first committee we served on together, and I think it was the Gold Beach 2010 committee. And she sometimes razzes me a little bit about being a nerd, and I carry my phone in my pocket. And I want you to know that I upgraded because I'm thinking about getting a bigger phone. And I think this might improve my nerdiness if I wear this. You know?
there you go.
So, thank you. So I was thinking of you, if I get a bigger phone, it probably won't fit in my pocket. So they make lanyards for them. The last time I spoke with Rotary, I was just a lowly city councilor, and I didn't know that city councilors were lowly until I got elected mayor, and people started treating me differently. The person that delivers the mail was like, "Oh, you're the mayor, I delivered mail to the mayor." I'm like, "Didn't you deliver mail to the other mayor?" And I write a letter or an email to a state place, and they used to ignore me, and now they're like, "Oh, Mayor, I don't know the answer to your question, but here's 3 department heads that can help you."
Wow.
How did that happen? I have power I didn't know. But Gold Beach actually has a weak mayor system, so I don't really have a lot of power. I work on the agenda, I control the meetings, I run the meetings, I don't control them. But I have a great city council, and that's what makes it work well. And we have good staff. The sheriff is a little mad at me, but it's not my fault because staff does all the hiring. You know, he was really upset when Sergeant Teeter was hired, and then shortly thereafter, our chief resigned and retired, and so then our administrator stole our chief right over there, Jordan White, and he wasn't very happy about that either. But hopefully we'll he'll settle down and not be so mad at the city anymore. But we've gotten some great staff at the city, and I'm really excited about that. I learned years ago, I think from Dixon Andrews, that a peace officer is the best way to go, and I think Chief White will continue that legacy of keeping the peace and not just getting bad guys and good guys, because not all people that do things wrong are bad. Sometimes they just are good people that made a bad choice or did something wrong in anger. And of course, sometimes intoxication can make that even better. So anyway, that wasn't really what I came to talk about. I thought what was probably a hot topic for everybody was housing. We've been working on housing problems since about 2017, when we first passed an accessory dwelling unit ordinance, which is actually starting to work quite well for us. It's where you can add a second unit to your existing property, and staff had been not charging assistance development charge. Some people don't know what that is, but it's about $10,000 for water and sewer and streets. And she chose to waive those, and we formally approved that this year, just to make sure that all of our T's were crossed and our I's were dotted on that. So, but we do charge the second sewer. So if you do have well, this just came up recently, if you do add an extra unit, you do have to pay for an extra sewer, but you don't have to have that big upfront cost. We decided to make that go out through that system. And we're really able to do that because the city has been very good with money over the years. They've always saved money, they've always had reserve accounts. I don't know if many of you, most of you are pretty young, but Shirley Walker could split a penny, and those years were very good for us because she made the city save a lot of money. So we have reserve accounts, so that keeps our systems development charges lower. We have the lowest ones that I know of already. So the other thing that came up this year was short-term rentals. I gave, on the handout, I give you both my summary today, but also I gave you the stats if you really want to look at the numbers. Some people like that. Vacation rentals, short-term rentals are kind of the same thing. Some of you call them Verbos or Airbnbs. They don't do that great unless they're near the beach. Their numbers do not compare to motels or RV parks if you look over the whole. Now this year they've done really well. I believe that's, the majority of them are in Sebastian Shores. We're not allowed to get the actual data of who does well and who doesn't do well. That's considered confidential. But staff has told us that Sebastian Shores is number one of the vacation rentals because it's right on the beach. They were kind of built that way, even though that wasn't Alan's original intent. And then the new development that Dustin Watson's building is also in the commercial zone, so that will most likely also become vacation rentals. They're also very close to the beach and have a good view. So we anticipate those adding. So what we did is we limited the number of vacation rentals in the residential zones to 21, which was how many we had at the time. How many legal ones we had at the time. We have a few illegal ones. So we're working through that process. And I think over time we'll reduce the number in the residential zones as they close. But for now, we're going to keep it at 21. And we believe that the business supports that law, that policy. Because if everybody opens a vacation rental, we lose our needed housing, and they all are failing because there's too many of them. So we're hoping that this will solve a lot of problems, both business-wise for the city and also provide needed housing for the area. I gave you some statistics. I'm not going to bore you with those verbally, but the numbers do show until this year, vacation rentals haven't done well. This year has been weird. It's kind of the leftover of the pandemic, and a lot of people still aren't going on big vacations to Disneyland and Disney World and cruises and stuff, so they do the shorter trips and come to the coast. And we've really benefited from that. The city has done very little advertising. The city of Gold Beach has one of the largest advertising budgets of any coastal city, and we've reserved that to advertise when the pandemic's over, and we're going to need to beg people to come again to enjoy our wonderful area. Accessory dwelling units, I think I'm going to back up a step. There was a housing study done. Commissioner, do you remember what year that was, that the housing study done with Marcia Hart and 2018. And the housing study came out that we need 60 new units in the next 10 years in Curry County. And I thought that was a little small, or a really small goal, but that's what they said we needed. And I think Gold Beach is going to accomplish that in about 5 years. We've got the wonderful project that Chief White is putting in. That'll eventually be 10? 8.
It'll be 8.
8 right now, right? And we got 4 done?
Yep.
All right, see, I'm remembering some things.
You got to have a place.
Yeah, he does live there.
I live in the bush.
I believe we have 8 accessory dwelling units that have been done, either added homes or remodels where they added an apartment to their unit. And then I kind of count the development part of the beach, the one on the Robills area. I believe that's going to be 20 units at some point. And then the Dustin Watson project, that's going to add a lot of them. But the problem I think with those is that the ones that Dustin is building, a lot of them are going to be either vacation rentals or second homes. And the ones out in Rook Hills didn't end up being as affordable as they'd hoped. So I think we're still missing that affordable workforce housing, and then of course the subsidized low-income housing. I think the hardest thing for us to solve is going to be the subsidized housing, because the last people I talked to said we need 4 acres. Mary, is there 4 acres available in Gold Beach? There's not. So I'm literally looking at maps trying to figure out where we could come up with at least 2 acres where an entity would come in and build affordable housing. So we'll keep working on that. But as far as workforce housing and those, I think that problem is going to solve itself in the next couple of years. Cross our fingers. And I think what we've done so far and what we're continuing to do is going to help with that. I don't know if you've heard of the ARPA funds. It's the recovery project for the pandemic. The county got some funds that they're working on, but the city's got small amounts of funds to do what they want with it. And so the council decided to do housing for the first check, and we'll do broadband probably for the second check. And we're going to look for a guinea pig, which we've had one volunteer, to do an accessory dwelling unit on their property. And we're going to follow the whole process from the idea, the application, the plans, going through the building department, If there's a septic issue, the first guinea pig is thinking about doing it, they need a septic, how to go through all that, and then come up with an easy checklist. So the next person that wants to do it, here it is. Here's the easy way to do it. And try to get people an easier way to get things done, because it can be really hard. I didn't realize it. I'm getting a new house now, and boy, there's a lot of red tape. And it's amazing what different officials, how much power they have, and what you have to jump over to get it done. And so I'm really surprised, because it's been a long time since I've done that kind of thing. So it should be very helpful. The council is very supportive. And the other big project that's coming up is Gold Beach Main Street, and I think most of you know who they are. They're very hard to say no to. And they would like to bury the utilities on Highway 101. And so they've asked the Urban Renewal Agency if they would help pay for a feasibility study. Pretty sure the agency is going to probably do that Monday, vote on that Monday. I'm actually not technically part of the Urban Renewal Agency, which I like, because I used to be the chair. But now that I'm just the mayor, I can go around and actually talk to people, come up with ideas, and then say, hey, let's go talk to the Urban Renewal Agency, and I don't have a vote. So there's no conflict of interest. And I'm pretty good at brainstorming. So if you guys have ideas, so the Urban Renewal District is basically, I'm trying to remember exactly where it is to the north. It's about where the visitor center is, down to the port, and then it does go up to the library, because the library had some projects when we were first working on it. So in that small area, if you ever need a map, let me know. There will be some money over the years to do projects. Some of it is beautification, some of it's housing, some of it's streetscape, which is what Main Street's been using. So the plan is on our website if you want to read it. I'm happy to talk to you about it. So are there any questions anybody has?
Yeah, good afternoon, Tammy. You had mentioned that there's not 4 acres available in Gold Beach. Across from north, I guess, across north from Riley Creek School is approximately 27 acres that appears to have been overdeveloped for 4 apartments, but then everything else got shut down. What happened with that project?
It's my understanding that they want to put in a subdivision eventually, and I think they've actually marketed it as a subdivision, and they want to put high-end homes there. And at one time I spoke to them and they want to put vacation rentals there, which won't work. But they didn't have any interest at all in home-income
So
housing.
it seems as though everything's shut down now, though.
But it's all up to the developer.
Okay.
They have not, to my knowledge, they still have not submitted an application to do a project.
Okay.
When you mentioned broadband, are you talking about joining Coos Prairies broadband?
We're having a discussion with them, Beacon Broadband. They're stuck at the FCC level. Apparently there's some sort of long form that they have to go through. They were supposed to have their money and be doing the project now, and they got delayed by the federal government.
That's changed. Today, the Senate hearings on the 2 new appointments to the FCC completed today and yesterday, and there was a lot of discussion of broadband and the desire to make sure that it's going into areas that have no service today versus duplicate service.
Right.
But you should, once if the Senate ever confirms those within our lifetime, you'll see a big change in the FCC.
Good. So the last conversation I had with Beacon, they're in Brookings. They need to get the line from Brookings to Gold Beach, and then they can do quite a bit here. I do have an appointment with Ziply Fiber. They reached out to us to talk about what they might have to offer. But the council's idea was to see if we could figure out how to provide Wi-Fi throughout the city. And they haven't developed what that really looks like, because they were planning on using the second check for that, because we weren't ready yet. So I hope that answers the question.
I guess, if you look at a little bit bigger picture, why just look at our plan to not only do the underground power, but to put emergency power 100 miles over the battery plant so that you have at least power for all the emergency services in town, in a disaster, along with fiber. I mean, that should be done as a single project, because you're only going to dig up the road once. And get that all done once, and that be part of the infrastructure. I mean, there's going to be money coming down for locales like us to do these infrastructure projects, which are more than just a single thing, or just these multiple things and just get it all done at once. I guess that would be, my feeling is that that should be done at once.
I heard you were on on the committee.
Pardon?
I heard you were on the committee.
I am, but I'm just.
So, it will not be a city project. The city,
No.
all the city's utilities are already underground. So it's Coos Curry, it's technically Falcon Cable, because that's who has the easements. And it's whoever was Zipley Fiber, which I think was GTE. It's their lines. And so I don't know how that's gonna work out over the long haul, but
Well, there's gonna be infighting because a lot of that stuff is old technology and,
Yeah.
you know, they need to get forward.
yeah.
So,
Did you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, one of them is, can you tell me what the development is at the old Sunset Inn?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
There's this really, really cool couple that moved here from Montana.
Okay,
And he's right there.
right there, that's his.
They're putting housing in down below, and then up above, I think you're doing a lot line adjustment with
Yeah,
your
we're
neighbor.
gonna do a lot line, then, we're looking at partitioning that into 3 sections, and we have, there's a couple real estate developers that are looking at that top part. They won't say what they're looking at it for, and we haven't agreed to even negotiate with them yet, so, you know, I'm willing to talk to anybody, but we want it to be a mixture of commercial and residential, and somewhere if we could get it, you know, a beautiful ocean-facing gym out of it, I'd be really happy.
Okay. And one other, it relates to Chief of Police here, I think. To me, I realize it's a county thing, but the city would have some role. It seems that we really need a new jail, and it's really, really bad. And so is that something that the city is supporting, and I wonder what might happen down the line? Because I don't think it can go on forever like the way it is.
I agree with you, and I have let the commissioners know if they need a letter of support or anything, I'm happy to write that. Because I agree with you, we need a new jail that's inefficient, and it's old. It needs to be updated, and I think there is a plan in place, isn't there? You're working on a plan to replace the jail?
We're gonna have a big update this afternoon.
Well, there you go.
All right.
How's that for cool?
That's very, very cool.
Not to make any promises, but we're.
You gotta start
moving
somewhere.
forward diligently.
Yeah, cool. Anything else? Okay.
Wow.